No, these are legends from Thailand.
Mhm.
When the Thai people saw them, they literally freaked out. But anyway, we walk in there, and we're walking down the street, and we look around, and there's some cowboys walking around, you know, and da-da-da-da.
What year was this thing?
80s, 84, 85-ish, probably. 82 maybe, I don't know, somewhere around then.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear this, "Hey, what are you doing?" We all look, and then the guy pulls out a gun. They start having a gunfight in the middle of town, you know? And they just freaking freaked out, hit the ground.
Like a theater performance?
Yeah, it was a performance, a cowboy performance. And two cowboys are gonna have a gunfight in the middle of the street. So, yeah, it was pretty funny. But I didn't realize that a big part of the culture is our Indian culture. You know, they really like our Indians because they're like into arrows, bow and arrows and shit, and the headdresses and shit. So they're really fascinated with all that kind of stuff. But of course, they also like Westerns. You know, you probably know spaghetti Westerns were probably still popular over there. So they had seen all kinds of Western movies, but they had no idea they were going to walk into a gunfight in the middle of a town, you know, because it was really cool. I didn't even realize that they had that old town up there all built out like that. Saloon, you know, with all kinds of other people walking around. And guns aren't that prevalent in Thailand, as you know, unless you're some kind of gangster, so. But they had seen on TV that guns are all kinds of shit here in America, you know, for gangsters and all kinds of crap, you know, so they had their own perception of what America was gonna be like, and big old gunfight breaks out right in front of them. It was just really funny. And then I took them up to Mount Charleston when it snowed, and they had never seen snow before. So they like, "Oh my God, it's snow." And they're like all happy and throwing it in the air, and we didn't have any boots. I said, you gotta wear something warm. "Oh, this is good, this is good." I said, "No, it's not good, man. It's not good. Gotta have more." "Okay, I'll go get more," you know. So they went and got more clothes, and we put a couple pairs of Levi's on, and it was pretty friggin' cold out that day. And sure enough, like less than 4 minutes after they got out of the car, like, "It's very cold." Yeah, it's freaking cold, dude. And yeah, that was really fun.
What about the time you guys slaughtered a cow?
Well, that was about the time that when I had first met them, I'd pick them up at some little apartments behind the Stratosphere, ghetto place, and it's like a courtyard, you know, there's apartments over here, apartments, you know, and in the middle there was a tree thing, and I walk in there, and they had a bunch of chickens, and they were just cutting off the heads in the thing. I said, "What are you guys doing? You can't do that here in the city like this." "It's okay, it's okay." So then that's what they did. And then another time I went over there, and I walked in, and they had bought a half a cow off somebody, and they had a big piece of visqueen out on the floor, and they were, you know, cleaning it all out and shit. And yeah, we were just cutting meat off of it and cooking it right there, and then that's where I learned how they made the sauce that I really liked.
Oh, where did you guys get a cow?
I don't know where they got it. It was there when I got there.
Was it alive when you got there or dead?
No, it was dead. They were butchering it out in the living room.
At an apartment?
At an apartment.
A whole cow?
Well, I don't know. It was pretty big.
Okay. Wow.
It freaked me out when I walked in. What the fuck? And visqueen everywhere, and like maybe it was a whole cow because we had to get the intestines. They got the juice out of the intestines and
an apartment in Vegas? It was wild.
Yeah, it was right behind the Stratosphere.
What year was that in?
Early 80s.
Wild.
My mom had just opened a pizza shop on Las Vegas Boulevard, Rocco's Pizza. So I would take them there, and we visit mom and eat pizza. And they had never eaten cheese before, so they were like, they liked it, right, babe? They liked the cheese.
We met them first. We met them because of the pizza shop. We met my aunt and a dough machine, and we met them at the Thai restaurant. I took you to that Thai restaurant.
Yeah, right. That's when I first met him. That's what I'm saying. But you opened Pat's Pizzeria or Rocco's about that time, and that's when I'd bring them there. I mean, I was just getting to know them. You know, when I found they're butchering cows and chickens in the thing, I took them to Red Rock and took them to your pizza place and just hang out with them, you know. But I didn't have kids at the time, so it wasn't that hard. But yeah, I went down to LA with them, you know, and like I said, I'm pretty into the Chinese culture, and I worked at a Chinese restaurant, so I was all freaking, I know all about Buddhists and shit, so yeah, we gotta go to LA, there's a big temple there, and everybody wants to meet the fighters. I said, okay, you wanna come? Yeah, okay, that sounds great. So I go with them, and we get out, and it's like 500, 800 people there, and everybody's just freaking out that they're there, and I'm walking with them, and everybody's probably wondering who the hell I am, and we go down, and then we go into the temple, and they do their thing in this big Buddhist temple, and then, okay, follow us, so then we go down into underneath the temple, into a secret room, where all the monks are seated around the table and waiting for us. So we all sit down. Okay, you sit here, Steve. And I sit down, and there's all this food up on the thing, and all these monks sitting around there. And they just said, okay, eat. So I just watch, I'm thinking, where are the chopsticks and all that shit, you know? And I didn't see any, so, okay, eat. So I watched my friends just start, you know, doing this, and it was Laotian style. They had the sticky rice, and they ball it up and take some food, and I'm watching. So I said, okay, do it up, and all the monks just stop and look at me. Oh, you know how to eat Lao style. So I learned quick. So that's how we did it, and it was really cool. Hanging out down there, stuffed our faces, and then we left. Yeah, Mom didn't get to go on that one with me though. She'd have probably loved it. And actually, there was no women down there. It was all men. But the women were bringing the food out. But then they had to go up and do a meet and greet and blah, 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 and then we left. And then that's when one of the guys I was with had to go train Danny Ensenado. He said, you're going to Danny Ensenado? Yeah, we have to go to this teacher. He want to learn Muay Thai. Yeah, okay. His name, I think, Danny Ensenado. What? Really? He's like fucking super famous, dude. So we went there. I'm like, holy shit, I just tried to keep my composure, like, you know, everything's good, just, but it was really historic, because it's like Bruce Lee's main training partner, you know, and he's really famous, even in the 80s. And they taught him Muay Thai. And several other people, and then we came back to Vegas. And then, okay, we're gonna go to the fight in the Olympic Auditorium. You're gonna come. okay. I said, yeah, but I have to do, I can't remember, I couldn't go with them. So I said, I'll come there, my friend's gonna bring me. So I went, and so I found the Olympic Auditorium. There was no GPS bullshit. We had to look it up on a map. So we're in the middle of the city. My friend's gonna drop me off at this gym, and they said, okay, well, don't worry, cause we'll give you a ride home back to where you're staying. So my friend gave me a ride, dropped me off. I'm in the back of this auditorium, and the gate, it hasn't opened yet. And I get out of the car, I'm all by myself, you know, friggin', everybody's standing out there, friggin', checking it out, waiting to get in, and I'm standing there, and I said, waiting there, and then all of a sudden the door opens, the security guard comes out, and I said, hey man, I'm here, I train these TIE fighters, and is there any way you could go get one of them to bring them out here and tell them that I'm here? He said, what? I said, yeah, man, I'm a trainer for the TIE fighters, and I need to get in here. He says, well, man, if you ain't got no pass, and can you just go get one of the, and all these people are standing around looking at me, and there's some Thai people there and stuff, and then I'm waiting, and about frickin' 10 minutes later, they all come running out, and the frickin' crowd just goes fucking crazy. Oh, yeah, they come out, oh, Steve, come on in. We wait for you a long time, come on. And I went in, and then they went back to the dressing room, and then I went up in the stands. I was sitting up in the stands. There wasn't nobody in there at the time, and this guy's sitting there. He says, who are you here for? I said, man, I work with these Thai guys, you know, I've been holding pads for them. We're out of Vegas, and I've been helping them train. He says, really? He says, you know who I am? I said, no. He said, I'm Rob Kamen, man. I said, awesome, man, good to meet you, Rob. I never really had met him before. I didn't even know who he was, but turned out he was like fucking one of the most famous kickboxers of all time. He's since passed away, but so I talked to him for a good long while, and then the fighters had their fight and won, and then we went out and ate dinner, and it was really fun, and then they took me home and dropped me off. They took me back to my friend's house. And I did that a bunch of times, going down there and doing the fights. And I imagine Gene LaBelle was probably around there at that time, you know. I never met Gene LaBelle at that time though, but his mom ran the Olympic Auditorium, and it was a big sports complex where they have wrestling and boxing there, and that's where Gene was raised by his mom there. She was the promoter, overseer of it. So that was really fun. And that's where I got those posters that I got stuffed up in the attic. And then they would go home, and another batch would come. And then they would go home, and another batch would come.
And what year did you start doing UFC?
2004.
What number?
Oh, I can't remember, dude.
One of their.
I think the first fight I ever did though was WEC.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I think it was my friend, the guy I was telling you about, John Lewis, his promotion, WFA, I think it was called. That was the first fight I ever did. And so I walked in the back to give the guys a rules meeting, and I said, because I went and got a bunch of tapes at the UFC. Mark Ratner hooked me up with Sean Shelby, and he gave me some tapes to study, and talked to Dana for a while, talked to Sean for a while, got some tapes, and I'd go back there about every month and get some more tapes. So that's the only way It was the only way I learned how to understand what grappling was about.